Hi, my name is... Oh god, Urshio. Oh my, that was bad. Okay, I'll try it again. My name is... Oh, no, no! Hello, my name is... That's an S. Okay. Hello, my name is Urshio. So, that was very bad, and I'm sorry, but I gave it a shot. And so that was British Sign Language, which is the best that I can do to give an introduction for a manga where the main character is deaf. So this is a sign of affection. Our protagonist, our main character, she wears hearing aids. She can't really hear anything, to be honest, and she relies on lip reading, and she can do sign language. I'm aware that British Sign Language is nothing like Japanese. Japanese Sign Language is nothing like American Sign Language, which is nothing like British Sign Language. It's all different languages. And so in some respects, there are going to be aspects that you're going to miss unless you're Japanese or a Japanese Sign Language reader. But it's kind of the point that it doesn't matter. You can still communicate. And there are things that you can learn from reading a manga like this. So just to get it out of the way, I know that there is a manga out there called A Silent Voice, which is about a character who is deaf and themes surrounding bullying and how that affects the characters in that story. It's not something I've read. I'm going to say that now. I've not read it. I've not watched the film. And so I can't compare to it. A lot of people, that'll be their instant response. Let's compare one manga with a deaf person in it to another manga with a deaf person on it. I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to read this one and judge it on its own merits. This is a shoujo manga, basically a regular romance manga. It just so happens that the person who's the main character can't hear. So these guys have done their research just to make sure that they don't get anything drastically wrong about how they're representing a deaf person in the story. I haven't done this, so if I'm saying anything that's like a bad term of phrase or something like that, I'm just going to apologise now, just in case. But I'll do my best to do this manga justice. It's quite a fun, light shoujo manga. So basically, our main character, our girl, she's just kind of on the train, and a guy approaches her, not for bad reasons, he just wants directions, but because she's kind of like confused by the situation, she doesn't get to interact with him properly, and she's bailed out by the pretty boy from school. So pretty boy from school shows up and helps her out, basically. It's kind of like a friendly gesture just to help out someone in need. But once he finds out that she's deaf and she can lip read, but he tries to cater for her, and he's like, oh, yeah, hope you're doing okay. I'll see you later. And just this simple act of kindness, it kind of flips the switch in her, and it's a little bit love at first sight, but it's mainly just to push the story forward. It's like her interest has been piqued in this guy, and so she wants to pursue that. Is it curiosity? Is it a romantic thing? And we just kind of go on from there. There's not a lot of like solid story. There isn't like a real progression to it, aside from the characters interacting with each other and learning their boundaries within each other and how they can kind of like start to hang out and interact. Obviously with a character who's deaf, it creates different kinds of barriers than what you'd normally expect. So she doesn't speak at all, actually. She relies on lip reading, she can do sign language, and if there's something a bit more nuanced or sophisticated she wants to convey, she grabs her phone, she types it out on her phone, and she just shows them the screen. And her friends do that to her as well, so she can lip read them, they can type on the screen, and they can just kind of back and forth like that. It's kind of normalized. It's kind of like not made to be like a weird thing or an inconvenient thing. It's made as like quite an everyday interaction, which is kind of nice to see. So our blonde pretty boy here, he's a linguist, he's trilingual, he can speak multiple languages, and as he's come across a person who's deaf, she wonders, is it just his curiosity in communication and languages? Is that his only interest in her? Or is it like a regular kind of relationship? So that's kind of where some of the anxiety in the nature of their relationship stems from. The guy's a bit of a hard read himself. He's a bit of a plank, to be honest. Like, you can't read him very well. He kind of says things in a fairly matter-of-fact kind of way, like direct communication. There is a feeling that he kind of sees a little bit more in her. He thinks that she's kind of sweet, but we're not quite sure. Also, it turns out there's the boy next door. There's another character. He's kind of a bit sassy. He's a little bit... He kind of teases our main character a little bit. However, he is fully fluent and conversant in sign language, which, as he's not hard of hearing himself or deaf, he's kind of gone out of his way to learn this language. It kind of gives an impression that there's more to his personality than just wanting to tease the main character. There's a little bit more to it. So we kind of got a love triangle set up, but the boy next door is kind of out of the picture, and our focus is mostly on the blonde boy. So it's a fairly standard shoujo setup. You just kind of got like a girl and a guy, and they're just kind of hanging out and learning how each other's feelings work, and is it going to work out? But the nice thing about it is because of the element of the main character being deaf, there are things that you can do with the comic format that makes it more interesting as the reader. So normally when people talk to each other, you just got like the regular dialogue kind of thing. But you can tell when she's lip reading someone because the dialogue of the person speaking is in grey. So there's a difference between a regular person's hearing and how she reads people. And also, if she doesn't quite get the lip reading right, they'll turn one of the letters on its side. So if she doesn't, if it's a word that she's unfamiliar with, or she doesn't quite get a good read on it, it will kind of like mumble up the word for you, and then they'll have a quick panel just to re-explain, just to kind of give a bit of a hint on the everyday kind of confusions and struggles that this character has to go through to get her communications across. And it's kind of nice that they can play with the format like that. I thought that was quite an interesting touch. Also, the character never speaks. Because she's deaf, she doesn't use her voice to communicate with people. All of her expressions are either internalized or they're done through basically writing on a piece of paper or into her phone. So she's kind of like self-reflecting a lot, and she has time to sort of overthink situations. Where like a non-deaf person, they would just speak their mind or ask a quick question, where she kind of has to wait her time. When's a good moment? Is that person facing me directly? Or, you know, if they've got their head turned away, she can't just call out to them. So it can be tricky. But I like it. It's kind of sweet, and I kind of want to see more. It is the creators of Shortcake Cake, and that is a manga I reviewed a little while ago, and I thought it was quite sweet. And it was another manga where communication was quite a strong theme of the story, where they're doing their earnest to just basically interact with each other directly. And I thought it was quite a nice manga where the main character, she wasn't like wishy-washy. She just asked people straight. It's like, are we talking about this or not? She was really, really, really direct. And yeah, this manga is kind of got another character who has a different kind of approach to communication. It's sweet, it's nice, and it's kind of like a little bit of fluffy shoujo. It's not going to hurt anybody, and it's not going to change the world. And I'm happy with that. I've got no problem with this. It will make your day just that little bit brighter for the day. And what's wrong with that? Okay, that is a sign of affection. I hope you found this manga a little bit interesting, and I hope you enjoyed the video. This is a show signing off, and hopefully I will see you next time.